There's a line. There's a line for home.
Growing, granddaughters are growing, looking good.
Yep.
Saying, my they feel like I'm somebody special. And that's it for the first time.
Must be nice to have one of those.
No, you're one of the family part.
I'm glad you're back.
Mine's the only one that's active,
So I've already queried the superintendent, he says they're on order.
So you invoice or they?
I trusted it.
I didn't see it.
They have the book pen. They talk about the.
They're waiting for you. That's what, they all kind of looked at me a little. And I don't even know what you're talking about. So
I just subbed in tonight, I tagged in,
Other
right?
than the date, but yeah.
And so they all, yes, that was kind of the
That
general
she can
consensus was they wanted to
approve
wait.
whether the
Because
seniors
it
are going
was
to.
I gotta sit by the booth.
So the board asks that she can.
your question, your,
Yeah.
something, and you had the information. So, yep.
Well, they have the information, right? They don't want to do what you tell them.
Well, you know what's all right, I don't know, like I said, I showed up at 6:15, thinking I'm 15 minutes early. I was 15 minutes late, started at 7.
Remember, so you start 5:30, start eating?
Are you interested?
Right, well, but it was, I was dinner at the house, and then we would
I'll be
go.
here to help.
I'm so scared.
Don't forget to send.
And we did some of it.
Usually I'm lost when I not to say it's all
You guys talked about this already, so hopefully it's been intelligent conversations and we're moving forward in the right direction.
I used to think of
I don't know if my scale's gone up or down.
Michelle was coming to talk to
Yeah, your point's gone up.
the day before, but I think it's May 20th.
Yeah, I know that.
I don't think it's the last week. You ready? It hasn't been that long ago that we you're copying. At least my cars, I have several questions. Now, you have the option if you want to walk with boards. They told me if you want to go back and finish the GE and get that C out there, you can walk with boards. I'm like, I'm walking, I don't care if it's boards or not. Hard lows. They say no.
Has to be a requirement.
Yes, definitely.
So Mr. Dean and I will be here too.
What's your text?
Oh, no. Yeah, probably. And who knows?
Well, I think they changed it. They said they were.
What's this? Trying to get that concession.
But they're gonna, I think they're gonna modify it.
The wedding blew up and canceled.
6:30, 21 March 2018, calling this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We have 4 students in the back.
I know, I already picked it out.
Okay.
Ms. Vigil, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Combs, here. Mr. Allen, I did that backwards, sorry.
I'm
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Mr. Swayze,
Here.
Mr. Underwood.
Here. All right, that brings us to modification of the agenda. I'm gonna break with my tradition for a minute because we need significant changes to this agenda to make it make sense. So for those of you who want to keep track of it, don't take notes right now. So, I make a motion to modify the agenda as follows. Move the open forum to after board super comments. Swap board and super comments. Move consent agenda to after action items. Add an action item in front of all of the current action items named grievance disposition. Move executive session to after student performances. And move the DAC report before executive session. So if all of those are taken into account, the new agenda will read, this is where you take notes. Number 4 is board super comments with board and then super. Number 5 is open forum. 6, student performances. 7, DAC report. 8, executive session. 9, discussion items unchanged. 10, action items with grievance disposition in front of the current ones. Consent agenda, information updates, other business adjournment. Do I have any other modifications to the agenda? Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay.
Who did the, sorry.
I know, I broke with tradition from that.
What's this?
6 is student performances if there are any.
And what's after the executive session?
Discussion items, action items, consent agenda.
Thank you.
Action items is 9.
10. Action is 10.
Okay, what's consent?
11.
So that's going to be last.
Other than information updates, other business and adjournment, yeah.
And then what are all the discussion items? Do they stay?
Discussions all stay in the order. So they're 9.1 through 22 instead of 10.1 through 22.
I'm just gonna.
Yep. So call for the vote, please.
Mr. Allen.
Aye.
Ms. Cohen.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Swady.
Aye.
Fabulous.
Mr. Underwood.
Aye. So that brings us to board superintendent comments. Again, I will break from my tradition, and I plan to lead off comments. I'm sorry, fellow board members, but due to the recent circumstances, I felt the need to, I want to get in first, so steal everybody's thunder, I guess. So first of all, and I think most importantly, I want to commend the superintendent for how he handled our recent emergency situation. Many of you probably don't know, but he and I were in constant contact about the incident, basically from the beginning through its basic conclusion, depending on how you define that. And whenever there was a significant event or significant information that needed to be put out, he put that information out to the entire board. And quite frankly, I'm a little upset because I was typing a message to him, about to suggest to him that he should evacuate PHE and send the students to the high school, when the message came in of him saying, I've made the decision to evacuate the students from PHE to the high school. So I didn't get to claim that. But for the record, he made that decision before the evacuation became mandatory. Okay? In fact, all of our students were all of our elementary students were east of I-25 when the evacuation order was issued. Superintendent made sure that all of the students were safe and accounted for, and that they were properly handed over to their family members. And the high school was actually opened up as a shelter for at least one family over Friday night. I know that there's some discontentment in the community that the senior high school was not a shelter throughout the incident, or that the district didn't really do anything other than the Sunday breakfast. And being a volunteer firefighter, I can tell you this, is if you understand the NIMS, the National Incident Management System, and the incident command structure, okay, this is it's not really a new thing since 9/11, but it's really taken off and been enforced after 9/11. Once the incident escalates to a certain level, the incident commander basically is in charge of that area. He's in charge of the police, he's in charge of the firefighters, he's in charge of every single buddy in that incident area. So if the incident commander says, hey, Red Cross, you're in charge of relief services, then the school can do nothing. That's the way the system's set up. We did everything that we could do, and maybe even a little bit more. But so I commend, the district and the superintendent for everything that they did do. Like I said, I don't think there was anything else that we could have done. And then, of course, the closing of Prairie Heights yesterday. The superintendent sent out a notice saying, hey, we're open for business, and then, only then was he contacted by the proper authorities saying, hey, we want to bring in the EPA and test things before you bring the students back in. It was not his call, it was not communicated to him in a timely manner, so he made a call, what he thought was the best call. Turns out, he got overruled. I think that if we fault on the side of caution and safety for our students, that's okay. Even if we lose a day of instruction to be safe, personally, I think that's okay. So, let's go, Mr. Vice President, your comments.
Well, I don't really have a lot other than for the Caught Doing Good Award. I'd like to send it out to those that kind of headed the charge or led the charge in getting food out, Ms. Terry and your group. Also, any of the other community members, that I know there were tons of them, and I don't know everybody's name, but hats off, good job, way to come together and look out for one another. So, Caught Doing Good goes to the community.
Absolutely. Mr. Treasurer.
I would like to say that Cindy over there in our HR and business is doing an outstanding job. Every time I go over there, she's got something else fixed. It's looking nice. She's putting the folders together. She even shocked herself because she had, if that fire would have taken over the school, everybody's folders would have been saved they wouldn't have been beforehand. She did an outstanding job. I think that is one thing that Grant, his Dr. Schmidt, has done outstanding by picking that lady to be our business manager over there. Another thing is Francesca. I think that lady is awesome too, keeping this school in great shape. She is, every time I see her, she's busy, 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 busy. That's what I got.
Awesome. Mr. Treasurer? Mr. Secretary, I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna delve in something that my wife would probably hit me for. But,
That's a wise course of action.
yeah, I'm still delving into it. I'm very, and I'm not gonna call any names out, and if you're one of the ones in the audience, I apologize, I'm not trying to poke anybody in the eye. But I'm very disheartened that as hard as our community worked to evacuate. And I was evacuated twice, actually, because where I was going to got evacuated as soon as I got there. People showed up with horse trailers, just not even knowing us from Adam, and said, hey, you got any animals you need help with? And we pulled together and did that. And as soon as it's over, some petty person is hiding behind their computer on Nick's door, armchair quarterback and everything, with no knowledge of what they're talking about. Just like the president said, NIM says what you do. As much as we'd love to say, open our school up, let everybody stay here, we aren't allowed to. And it frustrates me to no end that on one hand, we have all this community, everybody's coming together, and people, like I said, I know them from Adam, they're like, you need help with animals, we'll help you. We'll help you with anything we can. And then there's those few that are hiding behind their computer. And those of you that are here, I know you care, you want to do the best you can. Try to encourage those not to do that, because it's really frustrating. I haven't dodged a bullet since I dodged hurricanes 15 years ago. So my skills are very lacking, but we figured it out. But it just frustrates me that the community comes together as people and we get done, and there's those few outliers that make everybody look like morons, because as you know, that Nick's door goes out all over 7 different neighborhoods, and everybody knows what they're reading. But it just disheartens me that there's some that go in there and do that. But on that note, I want to thank everybody that came out. Ed, I saw him driving through the neighborhood with a truck and a trailer. There was lots of people that were helping, and it was nice to see. I know Terry became a zoo You know, and there's several people that took on animals and really did a lot. And that's truly what we all do for each other out here, because we realize that, you know, what we have is each other. And I just want to commend the community for that, and thank you.
And Terry hates goats.
Mrs. Director.
I just want to say thank you, and I'm proud to come from a community that came together the way that they did. A lot of the parents really stepped up and really helped each other out, and sometimes it takes a tragedy to bring a community together when it is divided, and I feel like there is some underlying blessing there, because I did see a lot of division within the communities, and just growing up here, I am so proud of how we came together, we handled it, and we showed community, which is very important. And so I give my hat off to everybody who helped, who leaded it up, whether I know you or I don't know you, just thank you. I'm proud to be in here, and I know that if a tragedy comes my way, that I have an army that has my back, and I really appreciate that.
Okay, Mr. Superintendent.
Well, I want to throw in the staff, because as I told Danelle, how you have an emergency plan, you can practice things, you don't ever have to live it. But we've had to essentially live an evacuation from one of the buildings. And so there are some things we know we can look at to make some adjustments, but a plan is only as good as the staff who implement it. And it was calm, and people jumped right in, set up where they needed to work. We did do the checkout for all kids. We saw you, if we need an ID, if we don't know who you are. The teachers did a great job. We had 3, 4, 5 in this very room right here, and they were nice and calm. And then Terry showed up right away with some snacks, because we have a snack program in the elementary school in the afternoon, so she came from the pantry to make sure our kids had a snack in the afternoon. A couple kids were concerned, but I really think because of the way staff handled it, they also stayed calm. So kudos to all the staff who were part of that, and that's huge. Another thing is that, I don't know if you've heard of Young Ameritown before. Young Ameritown there's Young Americans Bank, I think is what it's called. It's in Denver. And what they do to help kids understand economies is they have a fake town. And students learn about economy, running a business, how to run a checkbook, and then they elect a mayor, and you interview for jobs, and you get assigned jobs, and then you open the town, and people go out and you buy things from your other businesses and sell advertising, all this other good stuff. It's a very neat experience. So I contacted them thinking, I'd love to have our kids go to that. And it's in Denver, but they have what they call, I think it's called Young Ameritown on the Road or something like that. But they set up down at Pueblo Community College. So I'm trying to get us set up for sometime in January for our 5th, 6th, and 7th grade kids. And the idea, when I was a teacher, back as I was teaching 6th grade, we took our kids there all the time in the 90s. It was an annual thing they could count on. So we really need to have this an annual thing. When you hit 5, 6, 7, you get to go to Young Ameritown. And so it's looking very positive. We'll have a January date for next year, and we'll just make that an annual event, which is really cool. We have an organization came forward and wanted to utilize some open land that some of us rural districts have available and put their own solar farm on there, and then give all the districts a share of the proceeds as part of a revenue. That didn't go through because a number of reasons why, but the biggest was that they required us to put some money up front, but couldn't guarantee the other end. And so what happened is that organization went out and they got an investor to cover the front end expenses. And so they've come back to us saying, would you be interested in participating? And in this scenario, we don't have any money out. And then if it works where they're able to make arrangements to sell the power from their solar farm to utility companies, and by federal law you have to sell a certain amount, then we will reap some proceeds from that. And so far, before the meeting, people of interest are Edison, Miami Yoder, and Big Sandy, and us. We're just saying we're interested in participation. We haven't hammered out terms. And so it really depends on the terms before I come to you with those terms. The final decision will be here with the board. But just know that's coming, and that's no money out. We just essentially they get to use land owned by one of the districts nearby substation, which is Edison, Miami, Yoder, and Big Sandy all have a substation nearby that they have land that they own. Then on top of that, we will be receiving a donation. I have a draft letter from the solar company that's putting in the solar farm over by Prairie Heights. And so once I get the official one, I'll be able to tell you, but its value is pushing close to $100,000 of a donation to us. So that's phenomenal. And then I thought it was interesting, after the whole arming staff thing came about, we got the media coverage, I got a call from Elbert, and then today I got information from Peyton. Both those boards are considering the same thing, and they want to know what process we followed, and they're considering going the same route. So just want to let you know, a board member may contact you asking you those questions, so be prepared for that. And then, of course, the big thing is after spring break, we hit our state testing. And that's going to be grades 3 through 11? 10? Okay. And you didn't get selected for social studies, did you?
It's 3 through 8 and grade 11.
Great,
So
thank you.
11 is doing
Did you
social
guys
studies
get
and
picked?
science.
11 is doing social studies, okay.
And
Fourth
science.
grade is not. It's a 3-year cycle, so next year's fourth grade
But
will.
we do have ninth grade, will be taking the PSAT, so there's still the standardized assessments, and then the 11th grade, so you have 9th and 10th as PSAT, and then your 11th has SAT. So, but that's only one day, whereas obviously with CMAX is a little bit more, but when you look at state testing, it's through all of those grades.
So from April 10 through April 27, we're basically, both buildings are in testing mode. Some kids will be testing somewhere in both buildings every day, every school day between that. So good luck to our students on that. Our staff prepared them, and now they just show what they know. And for a couple seniors in the room, I heard they're going to add a senior test. It's going to have to take May 1st. If you don't pass it, you can't graduate. It's a new thing they made. I'm so sorry. It just came out today.
Quantum physics, right?
Yeah.
Quantum physics,
Quantum
yeah.
physics,
That's
yes.
what I
So, I'm sorry.
Trigonometry.
And that's all I have for tonight.
Wow. Okay, I guess that brings us to 5.0, open forum. Who's up first?
We have Alyssa Lehman and the rest of the senior class.
The senior class.
I'm not talking.
Oh, hold on, it's March, senior trip.
I think all of it should get there, yeah.
That's all there is, 5 of them?
At your leisure.
So all the seniors will be given and will understand the senior trip and guidelines for any questions or concerns about all fundraising and junior concessions money that was made. Our location we have voted on is Galveston, Texas. There are approximately 3 to 5 students that will be attending. We would like an approval for a date for May 15th through the 19th. We will attend the next board meeting to ask for approval for plane tickets, car rental, hotel, the itinerary, and the total cost of the trip. We would like the approval for the dates just so we can get the best deals on the tickets as soon as possible.
15 through 19, you said?
Yes.
May?
Only 3 to 5
Yes.
kids?
It depends on the cost of the trip for 2 students. So if they can't make up the money, there'd only be 3 students that would be going.
And 5 board members, right?
Might have to.
Anybody have any problem with those dates?
I don't.
They are before final exams, right? Those dates? Just to remind you of the conversation last year. So something to talk through as a board.
Right, well, finals are after this, right? Okay. So I mean, everybody knows the standard rules of conduct apply. Other than that, I don't have anything to say about it. Anybody else?
Bless you. Is anybody in the senior class on track?
No.
My one thing I would say with this being before finals, this is really a true world test for you. Because in reality, when you graduate, I'm not gonna say the real world, because you're in the real world, but as you get a job and you go to college, there are many challenges and triumphs and tragedies that may befell you prior to any event within your work. Projects due, anything. So this could be a make or break for you of, you come back and you perform in finals as you should. Because all of you know where you should be. And you need to be able to, your seniors, you should be able to do what you need to do to stay there. So I would hope that you don't go and data dump everything and your finals show that.
Yeah.
Because trust me, in the adult world that you're coming into very quickly, it doesn't slow down for anything, honestly. So enjoy it while you can and be respectful of it.
And last year, the board talked about how anybody who doesn't look like they will be passing in order to graduate, that they cannot go on the trips. Just make sure that senior classes or whatever.
I'm assuming that was in your little packet that you were putting together. Okay, that's why I didn't
Do
mention.
you know about how much each one has?
As far as money?
Yeah.
We're looking at this right here, but it's, right now I've got a couple of things that I've made note on it, but so we're lacking a couple of deposits that were made with the butter braids, because the last deposit I have on this that I just got today, Miss Cindy sent it to me graciously and also gave me her itinerary from 2 years ago to Galveston. But the last deposit I have on here is January the 5th, and the last one before that is October the 30th. So I know we have the butter braids that we sold during Christmas. Some of you may have bought some of those. And we had some persuasive salespeople. And so there's two I have notes in here on, but looks like we've done pretty well. Should be over about 4,300, 4,400, something like that.
And
So-
the DAC will pitch in, individuals will pitch in if you need to help cover expenses.
And who is that again?
So I think the DAC,
Oh, let me write that down.
yeah, they're coming up, so you can.
As per Dr. Schmidt, right?
No.
Oh.
I heard about that, I just heard.
But no, I think we're fine.
No, I knew nothing about that.
There's
So
someone.
there is, and, you know, again, there is the booster club forming, they might be so inclined to assist as well.
Well, that is why we've looked at Galveston more so than South Padre. We've looked at both, but the plane tickets, and of course, the sooner we get them, the cheaper they are, but the plane tickets going to Brownsville are about twice as expensive, if not more, right? Maybe you should have looked at them, gentlemen. So,
New flights starting the first of the month, that's out of the Springs.
well, and that's what we're looking at. We're comparing both Springs and Denver. Because I've flown out of Denver before with another senior trip, but when we paid for our vehicles to be parked there at the Pikes Peak Parkway with like 4 of them, that wiped out the discount. So,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, we look at everything and probably gonna throw some of that at the seniors in the economy class,
Very good.
economics.
Wonderful, real world scenario.
Other- So nobody has any problems with your dates?
Thank you very much.
I don't know if that's as much direction as you're gonna get.
That's all we need for now.
Yeah, do we don't really need to vote on something like that? Do we? We haven't really voted before.
I don't remember, did they vote last year?
No, they just didn't
Yeah.
Okay,
vote.
so keep us informed. How about that? All right, up next.
Miss Terry for prom and booster club.
Again, Terry, I want to say thank you for what you did during the incident last weekend.
It wasn't just me.
Well, I know, but you're the only one, well, you were kind of sort of the
I heard
face
you're
of
part-
it.
I heard you're part of the A team.
Yes, Terry, some of you.
I'm just a
showed
sucker
up
for a pretty
Joined the
face.
go team and doing the breakfast, so they.
Great.
they
Well,
were
thank
awesome.
everyone that is not here to help for us.
Actually, I would like to start out with that. One, I would like to thank the staff for the breakfast. That was Dr. Schmidt's idea. That was not the Hanover Pantry. I just want you guys to clarify that, because a lot of people were like, oh, thanks for the breakfast. We didn't do it. We just did the pancakes. So, but I'm really glad we did. That's a lesson learned, because honestly, I don't think so many people would have shown up to get the staples from Karen Share and from the Red Cross. I don't think as many people would show up, so I think that is was a good venue to get things done and to get everybody rolling on back onto the right track. So, I definitely want to thank, and my caught good, doing good ward is Miss Jody.
Yeah.
Miss Jody jumped in there and she was right beside me, hip and hip all day long. We probably fed 400 people that day. So what a great staff member you have in her. And she brought fried chicken, which I was like really happy for. All I brought was potato soup.
I need to interrupt you for a second.
Yes.
I heard you dropped off fried chicken at the fire station, is that true?
Yes, her husband and Zach.
That's some
Yeah.
good fried chicken. Thank
So-
you.
But, yeah, through all this, I just want to reiterate that even though nobody evacuated here, Dr. Schmidt and Ms. Van were here in case somebody did come. And I want to clarify that we, even though NIMS didn't say go to Hanover High School, but then when I was done and I got a brief from Red Cross, they absolutely were astounded that we actually had a place to go. And that they didn't know about the pantry, they didn't know about the high school being an evac center, which I thought NIMS should know that anyways,
Yeah, you
but
would think that.
the Red Cross is gonna update. The guy called me again after he apologized for not feeding the people that were standing there. He did call me and say that he wanted to get, that later on they're gonna do a community members meeting.
Right.
And
Or Saturday.
so,
Saturday.
yeah, so he would like to get the information there so that they know what assets they actually do have. Because I talked to several members of the people of the community that were standing there alongside the road and they didn't have enough room to go to the shelters that they were sent to. And so that's why they were there. We had other community members that, one of the elderly couples that, I don't wanna say their name because it's
Go
just,
ahead, sure.
you know, she's been we've helped her through pantry, and she said she couldn't drive any further. So these are things that we just didn't know. The best thing I saw was when I was driving out to get Ovette's horses, there's like 500 trailers coming behind me, and not one person asked, hey, you know, we just went. So I actually got a personal invite, but, you know, but, but Saturday was a very crazy day, and the Red Cross didn't know that those people were there. Still not impressed with the Red Cross, but it just proved that this community, as we told the news guy, that we have a sibling rivalry. The east and the west side, and that's what we call it at the pantry. We're like siblings. And we can pick on each other, but don't let nobody else mess with us, because we will take care of our own. The church ladies that cooked, there was a lot of people that cooked and sent stuff out. I don't know how much stuff my husband brought with him. Shanna Cloud, the president of the Booster Club, she rallied the troops. Bethany Reiser, she was there. So those people were cooking and sending out, so as soon as we would get low on something, they'd have something else sent out there. So it was really great to see that our Booster Club jumped in there, our community church jumped in there, the Hanover Pantry jumped in there. I know I'm missing like 5 minutes, but to top it all off, then Chick-fil-A somehow saw my Facebook post. And when Bethany called them to get them, they had already talked to me on the phone. I was on my way back from dropping dogs off. And with it, I just bawled the whole way across. I'm surprised I didn't wreck on Hanover Road because I was crying, because what a blessing. We are so lucky to be in this community. We really are. And that cannot be said enough. So, and as a matter of fact, I think I saw Miss Irene down there on the exit too.
Mr. President, that's close to 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, let me get on to the good stuff. Somebody better time me, because I would be like talking about great for you guys. So, the first thing I'd like to talk about is the Booster Club. Obviously, the
Right.
Booster Club is coming together. We are now 8 members strong. Woo-hoo! All of you have received your membership form, if you'd like to fill it out. We are up and running. We have our cowbells on the order. We've already got people interested in sponsoring us. So, we've got our bylaws done. We have set goals. We have a list, I think the list is up to 12 goals now. We have our illustrious vice president here. So we are cooking in Crisco, that's for sure. So I would definitely like to see us get supported by the board and anybody else who wants to be a member. We are definitely rolling with that. We have a plan, tentatively upon approval of the use of the park, the 4th of May to do a Sadie's Hawkins dance. It is open to all of the community, not just the school. We want to we're gonna bring in bales of hay, and we're gonna just put some lights up, and we're gonna have a little, just basically a burn, what do they call them?
Hold down.
Something burn?
It's a hold down.
A burger burn, I'm sorry. I was gonna call it a barbecue, but you know, they had something specific. And we're gonna do a membership drive on every event that the schools hold, plus we wanna do a dance on the 4th of May. So when I get that award out, I will send it out. So that concludes, that's everything, right?
That's everything.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
The second thing I have is the junior class. They have asked that there is I don't know if it's a policy or if it's in the policy or if it's in the student handbook that says you cannot go out of the continental United States. My kids will have approximately we have 5 kids that absolutely will guarantee go. Their grades indicated, their amount of hours they've worked indicate that they will guaranteed go to senior class trip. But since it's a year out, we'd like to plan ahead. The one thing they would like to do is go to Hawaii. And I've done some research, and with what we have, if it's just those 5 students, we actually have 4 of the 5 that will not have to pay anything for the amount of hours that they've worked in order to afford the flight. And my thought was to rent a house, and they all stay in the house, and then because I can shop on base, so it's cheaper for them. If the board would allow them to go, we would like to get that.
Here's what I'll do. So you know we're in the middle of this gigantic policy review.
Yes.
Between now and the next board meeting, I will find said policy if it exists and bring it to the next board meeting for us to discuss that.
Yes, because that is what the kids would love to do. And I've never been, I have 4 states left, and that's one of them that I have not been to. So, that being said, the junior class is cooking in Crisco. You all received your prom invitations. We are ready to go on prom. All I have to do is the menu, and I'm done. So we are ready to go. Oh, and the voting of the king and queen. That's it. That's the only thing we have up to date to do for the junior class.
Okay.
Then the last thing is the Hanover Pantry, and this is really quick. There are a lot of GoFundMe accounts out there raising money for the victims of the fire. The Ranch House Ministry, which is our parent company for the Hanover Pantry, has initiated their crisis account, and we have raised, I think, $518 so far. All the donations that have come into the pantry are going straight to that fund to assist victims of the fire. We tried to set up a GoFundMe, but it kept getting kicked out. So we just went to when I talked to Teresa about it, we just went to the emergency fund, and it doesn't take any percentage because GoFundMe takes 10%. So every dime of that money is segregated, and it will go to those victims, whether it be through food, through housing, through anything like that. We have that money set up. So anybody that has to do is write Ranch House Ministries as who you make the check. That is the 501c3 we have. And in the memo, write Midway Fire, and it'll go into our emergency fund, into the crisis fund. This is the only solution we had for the problem.
Right.
So because of the GoFundMes, and there's like 10 GoFundMes for Midway, we don't know where those are. They are not us. So
I hate to cut you off.
that's it.
All right. We're really running over on time, so
Okay.
if we could keep it to 3 minutes, please.
Miss Kathy Peach.
Ms. Peach.
You only have a minute because she went over it. It's okay, Kathy, I love you. Stick there.
I don't know if most of you guys know me, but I was upset over a bus going to Elbert for the tournament. I drove a bus here for 19 years, and I've never experienced anything that bus driver did. The bus would not start, and going up up that way, everybody knows it's worse up there in the wintertime than here. And she got out there to start a bus and it wouldn't start. And in my days, when there was a square wheel, we always sent the best bus we had. Because that's kids' lives at night. That's the bus driver's life at night. And I'm just looking out for the kids myself. I mean, that really upset me after driving a bus for this school for 19 years. And I don't know what the problem was. Somebody said we couldn't plug it in or something. I don't know. But let the route drivers have a bus during the day. This is at nighttime. I can remember one time I was up there playing outsiders basketball and my car went off the road. And one of my kids that I used to haul and myself was running down the road at 1 o'clock in the morning trying to find somebody up to help us. So that's no place to be sending a bus during the winter with a busload of kids. That's what I've got to say.
All right, thank you. Who's next, please?
Mr. Gracie.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. I'm here to talk about my recommendation for non-renewal. I am being recommended for non-renewal because I am not modifying my grade level instructions. Basically, what that means is in my PE classes, I will do units at times. And right now, we're in a badminton unit. And basically, we're playing badminton from 6th grade up into the high school. And I'm not modifying the instruction when it comes to like badminton, or when I do my bowling unit, we bowl. And they're playing badminton. They're having a great time. If anyone's been in the class and they know, the kids are having a great time. Their skill level is obviously going to be different from 6th grade as they are going through into their high school. And I do make the modifications as when I am doing the instruction. I have different sizes of rackets they can use, which is a modification. But to be recommended for non-renewal because I'm not modifying my grade level instruction. I think if a teacher's going to be recommended for non-renewal, it should be something. I don't know if you know, but I've taught here for 22 years. I have former students here in the audience. I have current students here in the audience. I've taught board members' kids. I'm teaching a board member kid right now. And for me to stand here after 22 years and have to defend in about 3 minutes, or in 3 minutes, why I hope the board would consider asking a lot of questions. And what I'm really asking the board is to support me in this and look at my body of work, because I know I got a lot of stories of students that I've touched. I got students that I've been to their weddings. They tell me about their kids, that they've had, the children they have. I see them in the streets, and they tell me, they give me hugs. And, it's great to see you, Mr. Gracie, when I run into them, and they call me out. So I'm just asking the board to please consider keeping me as your PE teacher. I've done it for 22 years. That's a long time. A lot of principals, a lot of superintendents. I've made it for 22 years. I'd like to make it for a few more. If you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer any questions for you. But it's been, I know, probably getting close.
No, but that's not the form.
22 years of my life have been spent here. And I'm very proud to be a Hornet, and I've done a lot of work for this school. And I hope I can continue to do that for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is that everybody?
Mr. Gilbert.
Mr. Gilbert.
Good evening. It's me again. I just wanted to come up. And as Mr. Gracie said, we have lots of stories, and I know you know that I probably have more stories than anyone else, simply because of doing the same thing that he's been doing, except for only 20 years. But I think I can sum it all up by going with what just recently happened with our community. Danielle summed it up, a former student also, a good one. All my students are good ones. That's what makes Hanover so good. That's why I adopted it 20 years ago. So I think it really comes down to just this, like you said. If we have some issues and things like this, we're a family. We're the type of family that want to take care of each other and take care of your kids, our kids. I brought my kids to school out here. I brought my nephew. Sometimes you might not have been so happy with them, but I brought them. And I'm proud to say that the school has really been one of the best things that's ever happened to my kids' lives. And I think most of you sitting in this building, or this room tonight, would say the same thing. I think the teachers out here are mostly dedicated for driving out here, doing their work. We're highly committed. We love this place, we love the community, and I, like Mr. Gracie and others, would like to continue to teach out here for a while. Some of the kids already have me retiring because of my health condition. I may be flushing a little bit now, so it's just my tumor trying to talk, but I'm cutting it off. So I'm just asking the same thing. Let's show the type of love and caring that we've shown when we had the fire and how we pull together. And I think even if there are some of us, including myself, that have a few issues with our methods of instruction, I think that's part of what makes us individuals, and I believe there's even something in the board policies that say each classroom is an individual classroom. That's what gives the kids, some cases, some kids love art. My kids did. They hated history. But, and it kind of goes the same way, because I loved history, but I didn't care for science. That was my dad, and I didn't care for English, because that was my mom. So I went with Spanish. But I just think that we've got some good teachers here. I'd like to see us stay with the known and the people that love this community, rather than bringing in someone that we don't know. And who knows, maybe we're just a stepping stone. Sometimes Hanover is a stepping stone for people to come. Maybe they sharpen their skills, maybe not, but then they leave us. We're the type of people that want you to stay. Come and sit down, have a talk, visit, learn a lot, share love and laugh and everything. So I too would just urge you to say, let's do what's best for the children of Hanover. And I believe that Mr. Gracie does what's best for the children of Hanover. And I think most of you in this room know that. So, thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want
That is
to?
it.
Okay. Student performances, any? All right. So then that brings us into an executive session. So.
Wait, oh, we're doing that prior.
Oh, I almost just ran.
We need our money.
My font needs to be bigger, I'm sorry.
That's right, Dave, that's right.
Miss Starkey Dodge.
You almost cut them out of the money.
Oh, yeah, right. The DAC report, please.
DAC this evening, we talked about the DAC community survey. The survey wasn't as well as we had hoped. We only had a 7.5 response on it.
Percent?
Yeah, only 7.5% response. We think possibly one of that is because we didn't do it as a Survey Monkey this year. So it might have been that people just didn't email back or call to the school or send the paper back, so it wasn't as easy of a way to respond back to it. So we just didn't get the community response that we had hoped for.
Seems difficult to make a decision on
Right, it's,
only 7.5%
I
response rate.
completely agree.
How many did you get back?
Only 7.5%.
Number-wise?
Number-wise,
What, 48, right?
yeah, approximately 46.
46. Okay, 46 out of 613.
Out of 613.
Out of 613, we got 46 responses.
And it was sent to everybody within the district, not just people who had students?
Right.
Okay.
We went over the district calendar and everyone liked how the new district calendar looks, which you guys will approve the second reading of tonight.
Will we?
Or at least it's on your calendar, it's on your.
Scheduled for
It is
approval.
scheduled for approval.
We'll entertain the calendar.
We'll go there.
If there's even a motion now.
We will go there. We also discussed the 2020, class of 2020 following under the new guidelines, because apparently that was kind of an issue that people were confused under which set of guidelines that they fall under. And there'll be a meeting here at the school tomorrow with it at 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And then budget, we did not go over anything because no one brought any
We're not, yeah.
questions on it whatsoever.
We're not in the budget cycle yet.
Right.
They're in the cycle of the DAC gives recommendations or requests.
Oh, is that
to be
mature?
considered,
Yes.
And staff got their information, they're starting to get that in as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought we wouldn't expect the DAC to see it for another month.
Well, this is the input part. Sorry, I'm taking your time.
No, you're fine.
It's the input part. We haven't developed the budget yet because we're getting input.
Oh, so you're soliciting DAC input as part of formulating the budget?
Up front, and then they'll see it
Oh.
afterwards.
Wow, talk about it, community engagement, I'm digging it. All right, my bad.
And then the only other thing I have is our next meeting will be March 16th over at Prairie Heights.
April.
Or May 16th, wow. Totally different months.
The next DAC meeting is May
It's
16th.
May 16th.
I would encourage you, though, if you could give us some feedback at the next board meeting on those graduation guidelines meetings.
No problem.
I'd like to know how that pans out.
Okay.
Does everyone know about those meetings tomorrow?
There was an email sent out.
Yep, to all freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah, it should have went out, I got mine.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really only affects the sophomores, right?
Freshman and sophomore class.
That's the debate, correct? Of
Yes.
The
which
debate
classes?
is on the sophomores, the freshmen are automatically.
Oh, so it's an information thing for the freshmen,
Yes.
Great.
and then,
Clarification,
okay,
learning concerns.
got it.
Is it going to start at 5 instead of 5:30 because you'll be looking at that first graphic budget?
As of right
That's
now,
literally
we are
like one
scheduled
more
for 5:30, but we can move it to 5, and I can send an email out to everyone to get it
If
changed
you
to
guys
5 to
feel
give us a
rushed.
little more time.
We'll get it to you
Yeah.
by email first so you can see it before you come to the meeting,
Okay,
because an hour is pretty quick.
right.
Yeah, they need more than an hour. If the first time they see it is when they show up.
Right,
that's
Right.
we'll
more than an
email
hour.
it to you in advance.
Okay. And that's all we have.
Thank you.
Okay. Now that brings us to
Oh,
executive.
by the way, you didn't share the survey results, even though it was only 7%.
You said it was for DAC size only, that's why I told him not to.
Yeah, she told me outside because you said it was for DAC size.
Well, before the DAC meeting, because you guys
Okay.
needed to discuss it, and it's your survey, so you guys share the results. I didn't,
Right.
you guys start telling everybody for the board meeting. I'm sorry every
Oh,
time.
No,
that's fine.
no. Okay, can somebody ask me why someone is having a bonfire on Boca Chica Heights right now?
Are you kidding?
What kind of sense does that make, people?
The same person who threw a cigarette out while they were in line to read.
On Boca Chica Heights, in the burn scar.
Right in the burn scar.
But, okay, if you've been to this address on Boca Chica Heights, I have. There's lots of green next to it. The burn scar looks like your finger sitting out like this. So there's still lots of things to burn. People, don't burn. Please. I'm sorry.
You're fine, it makes perfect sense to me too, what you're saying. Okay, so what we asked was a 4-day per week, 5-day per week, uniforms, and year-round school. The 4-day per week got 41 yeses and 5 nos. The 5 days per week got 5 yeses and 41 nos.
It was
The
all Mac's house.
Uniforms got 11 yeses and 34 nos.
Wow.
Yeah, which really surprised me
I'm
because
shocked with 11
talking to
yeses.
the communities, there was actually more people that were wanting uniforms, and that was the reason why we put it on there.
That was
Because-
probably my house.
Because of how strict the dress code is, they were asking why we didn't just go to a uniform.
Right.
And then the year-round school, we had 6 yeses and 38 nos.
And you put these specific questions in the survey due to input you received?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started before your time.
Yeah,
Yes,
these,
I was curious.
these specific questions were put in because they were brought up by community members and I've been on DAC multiple years and we've always done the debate of 4-day or 5-day.
Yeah, I know that's always been a
Yeah.
big one. The year-round is what threw me off. I was like, what?
So
There's,
the DAC is your committee, so if you guys ever want to ask from the community, that's who you ask.
Can we go to their meetings?
Yes,
As
you
to-
can't be involved.
So we can like sit
Right.
there and hear and,
Yes.
okay.
Well, we'd like to know if there's 3 or more, because you're always supposed to post to 3 or
Yeah.
4 members in a place.
Yeah, has,
Okay.
yeah,
So
can't
you
be
don't
that.
have a meeting violation.
And you know, my philosophy on this is, you know, the DAC really does kind of sort of work for the board. So, I mean, if we go there, one of us goes there, or 2 of us goes there, you know, it's really just kind of sort of be a fly on the wall and see kind of what's going on, not to,
And just see their process.
right, see the process, but not to guide it or exert any kind of influence over that.
I asked that last year.
I mean, I've been to DAC meetings, though, literally just sat there and drank Pepsi the whole time, so.
And there will be there's going to be a vacancy on the DAC that'll come to you guys next month
That's fine.
to be filled.
All right, is that it for the DAC?
I just gave you an update. There's a DAC member who has resigned due to time issues, so we'll have to fill that
Some
spot.
people
You want who's clever, you want DAC.
Both.
They're running smoothly, I'm not.
Terry,
Buddy night.
Terry has her hands in a lot
Quitter.
of things, and she had to identify what had to give. Okay. So we appreciate her
I'll
for
sit
her
on
service.
this button.
So.
We will post on the website, we'll put out something, there's an opening.
Right, and then I mean, yeah, we'll fill it next month if we get a willing candidate. Okay? Anything else on
Since
this
it's on
DAC?
that, we'll probably have the people communicate to you who are interested.
Okay,
And then we'll bring those names to the board, I guess. We'll figure out how to do that.
okay, sounds good.
Okay, so that brings us to 8.0, executive session. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session to be conducted to discuss personnel matters, discussion of matters specific to particular employees, not general personnel policies, does not include discussion of board members or appointments to the board, according to CRS 24-6-402 4F.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call for the vote, please.
Mr. Allen,
Aye.
Ms. Combs,
Aye.
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Swayze,
Aye.
Mr. Underwood.
Aye. The board is so moving to executive session. You're welcome to wait.
Last time you said you didn't come back.
Because somebody could talk.
Are you talking to me? I was not that excessive talker in that executive session. And since it was an executive session, I can't point the finger at you.
But you're easy to pick on. You're easy to pick on.
Chris, did you get a haircut or why do you look different?
Had a haircut last week.
Oh.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I got it
How does
last
that work?
Just bad, because I went to the book.
This one's it, how does that work?
That's okay, they can be mad.
I got 50 shades of anything.
You just seem younger?
Yeah, I just seem younger, that's what everybody
Doesn't that
says.
fill your vision?
Yeah.
That's the old one.
Do you think he looks younger?
So,
With my haircut.
See, that's not
I will get a hold of one and try to-
I get it from other people that don't want it.
Yeah, they're supposed to be doing, tetanus shots.
That's what I kind
They said, I'll message her, see what I can find out, and then I'll message you and see what we can. Because I somehow got thrown in the middle of salary and stuff.
Process. The dad bring all those names and select
You know, I don't think anybody's ever resigned from that.
How are you?
We have had others resign before.
Oh, I'm so thankful.
Maybe you didn't have to resign this week. We added one.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
The B. Last
So they're not actually new members, they're going there.
For you. No, you would be happy. we have.
But I don't know if
No,
it's
we take
multiple,
it
is it
for-
one?
And there's the
That's just that. Oh, we got it.
Right, and I honestly don't.
I realize more.
We'll keep them. You know we will.
What? I mean, it would just be.
You know, that's my dad, that's what I'm
You didn't have a position. No, you didn't have
Were you a
a
community member or
Yeah.
parent?
The boys.
No, she was a community
Well,
member.
Mandel, okay. You know, Dandelion, lilacs,
You were, yes, no, you were a business, you were the business, is what you were. Because we have.
Because that's what we have to find.
Right.
John, I saw Johnny put that on there.
Business
So are you still living there?
Of course, I'm John.
Right.
So he
Yes,
gets me.
What about Denise? Does she business?
I got two over there.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Right.
But she does, doesn't she do the other farm
Not a
stands?
share with.
No, I know there's two farm stands. Right, Lisa.
And then also.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put it out there for.
Yeah, I can talk to Lisa and find out if it's all.
I thought the car, it was used, but it
Well,
only
I'll
had
put
15,000
on
miles on it.
easy message.
But now I'm almost at 8.
Supposedly they're getting out for a shop somewhere or Saturday,
Yes.
and is that at Prairie?
No, it's still
Are they doing that in the
I understand it's all part of our.
Yeah, part of the town hall meeting.
And that's at Prairie.
Yeah.
Flyers
Yeah,
that
that
want
is
to-
very nice.
When I go to Denver, when it's my daily, it's like almost 1,000 miles.
Really no flyer.
Yeah. Well, you just shoot me the details on the email, I will get it out there.
We have it on next door.
I don't have next door. That's probably why I couldn't comment to
I'll
Roger.
pull it off next door and shoot it to you in an email.
Well, you just give me one packet.
Plus, they're highly involved.
Oh, cool.
She had it on.
Well, she's the city, I need that.
It's just kind of like the guy coming in.
I know I'm
I just didn't know you guys were available to us.
Yeah.
She never put up the cameras there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I just jerked me.
Let's walk down to their house.
Saturdays, so.
Sucker.
Well, I find it interesting that she picks a issue
No, yeah.
come out.
For GM.
Oh, yeah, I think I need to, I'm gonna have to be late for my grandson's birthday party. I'm gonna be at that. Well, I lived on both sides.
They already did.
I heard that the first time.
So, I'm trying to remember sending Kevin Grantham, because he's still our
That's
senator.
it. What?
And our representative is,
You got my wife, and so I'm running around in this city.
no, he's senator.
Well, somebody shoots me the information, I will get it
Point
out.
is, I'll
I
let
know
you
that
know
discussion
some
they've
politicians.
I'm a lot out.
What it doesn't do this time of day.
When it's important. Yes.
Because we
If
were
you don't
in
think
Denver
I'm
here
getting Monday
about.
through Friday, don't praise me on Sunday.
One of the other big issues that I talk about with the big first responder.
Yeah, I think they're gonna be in there for a while, so I gotta go make dinner still. I haven't been there.
Oh, yeah, I can't get more.
I gotta go make dinner and I gotta go change some things on the track.
Real soon.
There's some people that. Huh?
Yeah,
No, I got 3 events. We have a track on Saturday and I have to make some changes to our event.
Tomorrow,
So,
I'm gonna go.
and it closes tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I won't have time. I gotta do that tonight.
All right, give me a hug real quick, I gotta leave.
Okay.
All right, I love you.
Yeah, you too. You look great, so.
But over there, like, well, if
If
they
you got me on board, you
stuck those houses.
Yeah.
I'm getting a hug of you.
Yeah.
Just go bragging on I told you. I said, I told you you should have.
So, the fire guys ran into that.
Yeah.
They saw a road,
Yes, ma'am.
so they were ready to drive out the road. They saw a road over there, their lines flying to get there. And the road people were getting-
Down there, we went down there.
Yeah.
Ever possible.
I don't know what's going on right now, but this morning, I got a bus. We have a security fire department and EMT that come down Donner. They turned around and head down High Creek. I'm like, why do we have a security fire department out here? It was kind of, I know they don't know
My
tire was flat, so I went home, I had a suit on.
Okay, babe.
I had my hair and I was like, I'm already home.
And we tried to send
And then I put it on my Google Office and I forgot to do it.
finally sent to
Was that
us.
July? They will.
I knew I had to carry my feet are ugly.
So they sent
They are though.
that's kind of what we showed you right in Mary's house. So then we had to go through court, so this one was, so they took us to Austin, second, and then went to court. But we actually went to some courts. And said, okay, we're gonna do this, we have to file a plan.
I think it is for
My son's such a sucker.
everybody's looking for that
He's talking
script.
into it, always want to love process. And they know how to say stuff. So, but we got in there, well, we said it, we show up. By the way, she just had us for giving advice, I said, heard you call me anything else. I haven't heard you call me advice.
So you probably want to go down to the office area.
Yeah, I'll tell them, yeah,
You'll come out with that.
I'll tell her about
Because first of all, I was taking my car from her. I was driving my mom's car.
I'll just go wait in the
That was
office
doing
area.
stuff in my
And
car.
I'll
Because I'm not
go sit down.
I had little shoe marks on the side of my doors. I know how to
You never know who they call in.
So I
Dan, I'm
don't
gonna
let
go
them
down
understand.
downstairs. Sure, we
We don't
can
get
call
a
you.
grand or a reason.
Just so they don't walk off.
Good.
But he didn't, he
So
got
I
her chance to practice.
filed the fee because the best, she doesn't show me these. She does
So that
show.
I know. Well, I really know who the hell
The good Lord is waiting for my God. I'm gonna pay Brandon, we went to court, that was your not even sure. She came in there and looked all whipped, carriage all clean. We're sitting there, my wife, me, there's two friends, they're all dressed up like this, I'm wearing my tie. She shows up, well, lady comes in, finally she comes in. And Bella said, "Are you ready for court?" We said, "Yes, Your Honor." I said, "I'm just a baby. Were you?" So she went out of the court. When she went out, Tiffany got up and went out. Judge walked in. Judge walked in and went, I thought both parties were ready. Well, we're ready, Your Honor. Or Judge said, "I'm ready, Your Honor." She said, "Thank you." I thought you were ready. She's ready. Sits down, phone falls out.
Right.
I'm like, shut up. Come on. She said, we're doing this in the case of this fellow, Marie Gilbert, blah, blah, blah. You understand? Yes, Your Honor. She said, this is a court of law, and the responses will be verbal, not physical. They do not count. She wrote the orders out and said, looks like your dad hadn't seen the daughter in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I wanted to jump up and say, no, more than that, but from May till July 6th, and she brought her back and see if they would leave us. They wouldn't be with us, they wouldn't.
But one of the,
Oh, no. I'll spend all my money for that. So she says, well, starting today, immediately, you will have your daughter. For 8 hours, you'll have something, you will return her to the law, and you'll follow the schedule that I've set up. So, 50-50. And we had one incident, and that was Christmas Eve. So we had, and you know, when they get good and stuff, I just copied it. And they had to go, Jerry's making, put it right on the wall, so we're there, Christmas Eve. Jet walks up,
I'm not
I'm
sitting
gonna
there.
get his.
I'm talking about, I'm sitting in the rocking chair. You got food?
Our 5 days.
What are those?
So he's like, oh.
I know about cookies.
So he.
Oh, I know. They're already.
No, I had to erase that game off my phone because
I know. California game tattoo, I know, I see him. Oh, Jeff, look him up, I know. Well, we'll find out, no action, remember action, okay, sweet little girl.
He's very sweet.
We're up in the hospital over there.
Bring up by the trash guy.
Yeah.
Little dog.
Bet she's got two sweet
Yeah, she's
Right,
over there.
well, he caught her in bed with another man in Indiana, just right at the same time. They killed me, so it runs in the family.
I think for
But she was still.
that day.
She was super excited.
Well, all of the families
I
over
called
there,
her
and then you have Amanda,
right before
Donna,
this broke about in last March. She had a flat, I had a nail in my mom's tire. I just lost a tire, so I said, well, what? I gotta take this. So I went to get it with her. So I parked, my wife parked.
just got me thinking about it now.
She goes out, gives me the keys, and I'm like,
Get her back over here at least once before the school.
I went back to the car and I said,
Yeah, but it has.
Well, that's fine.
I don't know what, but I'm not like this. What are you talking about? I said,
Thank
"It's all over there."
TJ, I dropped my soda.
They got right there.
Did you really?
No, he's been staring at me.
Did you what?
I dropped my soda.
Like,
On tap it.
I owe him something, he owes me something.
Electronics?
Or whatever, I don't know. He's looking
Oh,
at
that.
it. And
So you
I
tap
took
it
outside.
and then you open it?
No.
And they were starting to pull up, started looking at me.
No,
and said,
after.
"Look, my wife must have something's weird." I said, well, she pulled me up to the car, I got to get license. When I took my car to Walmart, I told her something about the car.
It's gonna be
He's
okay.
either been in my car,
Yeah.
or he knows that Tiffany's car, he's wondering who.
Yeah, yep.
It was. I'm too good for immature quirks. So
Oh, sure, no.
we went ahead and went, well, when they came up, I said, "It's not your time." She said, "Yes, it is." I said, "No, it's not. And you're not here today." She said, "Yes, I am." I said, "Well, I'm sorry, but you're not, because she's in our possession, and you're not getting her." And I said, "I've got this," and I walked out with it. I said, "I got the bill." She said, "It says right here that I get her." She said, "It's colored with the bomb color." And I go, "It's kind of weird." I admit that. But I said, "Read what it says down here. Judge," she goes, "Judge colored it." I go, "Judge wrote this." And it said, "Quote, Emma will get baby on Christmas Day, 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. and will return to Cat to resume regular schedule." I go, she goes, "Why plans are tonight?" She said, "We had plans for Thanksgiving." Yeah, we didn't get her. And I said, "So, you know, you can have her tomorrow at 9. Why the plans tonight?" I said, "I'll tell you what, I'll let you have her this evening for your plans. We get her longer, more people when they are." I can't do that. I said, "Well, you're not getting
Look
her."
how big this plane is. It said Italy. This is how a plane
She
looks.
goes, "Well, sorry,
That's normal size.
Judge, you're wrong, you're wrong, I'm not wrong." I said, "You're right." Guys, I said, "It says right here, let me read the whole thing. October the 27th. We're not gonna make it complete." I said, "I don't even know what that is. And you're in front of my house, you need to shut your mouth." I said, "No," and Jeff said, "Okay, you're not even in my," I said, "If you come here, you're gonna be talking." I'm talking.
That's not on, right?
You're wrong.
Obviously, it's not on.